right. Okay. So the plan for today and for a few days hence is to do a slight transition into direct preparation for the exam. All right. Those of you, and well, there's certainly a decent number on both sides who are taking the test versus not taking the AP test. There will be a lot of things coming up that don't apply to people that aren't taking the AP test, and a lot of things that do apply to people who are taking the AP test. I will try to be exceedingly clear about what is for everyone and what is for just test takers. Okay, it's still, if you think you're just going to zone out because you're not taking the AP test, that's not going to be the case, because a lot of the assignments in the near future are assignments, even though they are assignments that are designed directly to prepare students for the test, they are also going to be for points that you need to do to get the points. Okay, so the first of these is the assignment from Monday that you were supposed to do, which you may still do. And I'll make the due date back enough so that if you get it done today, it'll still be on time. And we'll see how this format of doing assignments in Google Forms, if that works out efficiently enough. That might be the way things go forward, at least for these short assignments. But regardless, the first thing we need to do is figure out and explain everything to do with the digital portfolio. Okay, so test takers, go ahead and log in to your College Board account. About half of the goal for today is merely to navigate the College Board website, find your way to where you're going to upload your digital portfolio, and discuss the process of uploading that digital portfolio. Okay, a super useful hint or insight into the College Board website is that it is complete garbage. It is poorly organized. The links are unclear whether they're going to take you to a completely different part of the College Board environment, or if the link's going to open a new tab and a PDF in a new tab. It's very unclear which ones are cycling you back to the front, like are essentially the link is essentially the same as home. That is why I strongly recommend, instead of clicking on links, open every link in a new tab. That is because even if you want to just click on a link, there are a lot of places that it will take you where if you hit back, it logs you out. So, like I said, always opening in a new tab. It's not required, it's just a super useful piece of advice. So first thing we're going to do is find your way to the digital portfolio. Now, if you're coming into the full AP homepage, perhaps that's the only place you've been for like SAT stuff. I don't know the path that you need to take. In fact, I don't know what the student interface looks like. It would be nice if they offered that, but either way, find your way to the AP Central, maybe, and then the page for this class, not Classroom. We will get to Classroom shortly, but I don't think you can get to the digital portfolio portion or digital portfolio submission area with inside of AP Classroom. You are just finding your way to things that say digital portfolio. When I even just didn't use a new tab on that one either. Okay, when you get there, you will have some sort of interface where I'm pretty sure you will have some sort of side menu that looks like this, that has the 3 components. Maybe yours has an overview, maybe that's just the teacher one, but you need to find your way to the part or the place where it will have these links on the side. Program code, video, and personalized project reference. This might be, for some of you who haven't read ahead, your first awareness that the third component is not exactly the written response that we did for this project. Okay, again, the stuff we're talking about here, anything that we talk about on the College Board is for test takers only. It is different than the project we did for this class. Okay, once you find your way to this area, you can click on the 3 different options. And again, my interface doesn't look like yours, but you should have some sort of upload button, perhaps a few of them, depending if it's the video one or the personalized project reference or the program code. You might have a different number of upload buttons, but this is roughly what your interface is going to look like. You need to find your way to there. Now, almost everything I say will be repeated a bunch of times, and that's more of a just try to deal with it. Hopefully somebody gets it from each of them. Your interactions with the College Board are between you and the College Board. There is almost nothing I can do to directly help you with your interactions with the College Board, both, rules wise, as far as how much I can help you with things, and also just my admin access to the accounts. The only thing I can do essentially is check that you've submitted something and release it. If you have finalized it, I can unfinalize it. That's it. This is not like when in the code.org curriculum where I am your intermediary. I can change your password. I can change your password for you. I can look at your account and check things and all that kind of stuff. That is not this situation. And that's also the general case for this in general, the whole AP test in general. It's on you to make sure this works out. Okay, it's on you to study for the exam. We will do it in class. I will present resources, but if you're going to drag your feet and pretend to work, you're not going to do well on the test. And if you don't pay attention to the details for submitting your digital portfolio, you're not going to do well on the test. All right, I'm happy to answer questions, but again, it's on you. So if you look at the calendar spreadsheet, you'll see some things are in different colors now. I am going to highlight the things in blue that are test taker specific. Okay. The due date for uploading to the College Board, it is the last day of this month. It is a week away, or less than a week away. It is Tuesday, end of day Tuesday. But if you're waiting to end of day Tuesday, you are a fool, because there are always technical issues. I shouldn't say there will always be at least one person with a technical issue. And if you're waiting to the last second, I can't help you. The 3 different components, every year, people will upload the wrong file to one of the components, like swap them. And that's fine if you do it before the last time I see you, because I can unfinalize them. But if you're trying to do it after school on Tuesday, I hope you pay attention to the details, because there's no way I can help you at that point. Okay, so some of the major differences. First of all, if you're taking the AP test, you need to submit all 3 components. Well, Yes, all three parts. The written response is not the same thing as personalized project reference. We'll get to that in a second. You need to submit all three components both places. Turning in your project to Canvas is required to get the points for the assignment for this class for everyone. That is not the same as submitting to the College Board. You need to submit your project to the College Board digital portfolio, which looks like this if you're taking the test. Now, some good news, you can submit different things to the College Board than what you submitted to the Canvas for this project. Meaning, if you need to improve your project, you still can. If you don't think it meets the requirements, you can still improve it. I'm not going to grade what you submitted for this class, or at least not the rubric part of it. I will collect the assignments and give you grades for submitting them. But the rubric part of the written response and that sort of thing, I'm not allowed to grade it before you submit all of your work. But you can use this time to refine things before you submit it. Okay, so submitting it both places, all three components, both places. You need to, at some point, not necessarily right away, but at some point, you need to finalize your submissions. When you get to the upload page, it will click up. You click upload. You choose the file you want to upload. Hit OK. It uploads. You then need to click finalize for it to count. If you don't click finalize, it's the same as not submitting it. I don't know that to be a fact. That's what they say. I imagine I don't know. I don't want to say you should count on forgiveness, but that might be the case. Okay, there are slight differences between what you submitted for this class and what you need to do to submit for the College Board for the test. Okay, the first component, the program code PDF. If you have any comments in your code that are not related to the project, you need to remove them from your code, like in code.org, and then redo the PDF if you change something and submit that redone program code PDF. This is unlikely that there's an issue, but they do make a point of it in the description about, I guess the concern they're addressing is passing a note to the reader somehow. This would be the way to do it, because you can put anything in your program code. You just put // in front of it and you just write stuff in paragraph form. I can't imagine anybody having stuff that's not allowed in there, but in case you did, that would be the time to get rid of it. No, you would need comments if you are citing a reference. And no, you can have regular comments, but when we get to the last part, you'll see why you might need to remove some. Okay. For the video screen capture, it's essentially the same thing as what you should have submitted to Canvas. Needs to be a certain file type, needs to be under 30 megabytes, and needs to be under 1 minute in length. I don't think any reader is going to be disappointed if you submit a video that's 15 seconds or 30 seconds. They're not going to, I cannot imagine one of them looking at it and thinking, wow, I wish this, 50th out of 200 projects that I'm grading was 30 seconds longer. I don't know that to be a fact. I'm just imagining. But it does need to meet the requirements. It needs to show the app working. It needs to show an input and an output. If you have bugs in your program, do not show them in the video. Seems pretty obvious, but either way, very similar. Now, the third component is the most different from what you submitted to Canvas. It is not the written response. You will not be submitting the written response document that you submitted for the class project. Okay, they have changed it. The written response you did for this class was the project last year and for the previous 7 years, but they have changed it this year to a situation where you are going to write your written response answers during the test. I know this is tough news for some of you who don't like to write, but you will be writing them during the test. Now, the questions you answer are not necessarily going to be the same as the ones that you answered on the written response, but they're going to be similar. And they're going to be about your project. Now, the way that you are going to write about your project during the test is you are going to create and then get a personalized project reference. All it is, and all you are submitting to Digital Portfolio is the cropped screenshots from the written response. Okay, so the written response, you had a cropped screenshot of 2 about the list and 2 about your function. Those are what you are submitting. And you're going to get a printout of those. Whatever you submit to Digital Portfolio will be handed to you in print form during the test, so that when they ask you a question about your list and how it's used, you will get a copy of your cropped screen images about that list to reference during the test so that you can write your responses during the test. A lot of the assignments between now and the test will be short answer questions that are examples of types of questions you might get on the exam. Now, the differences for this are, let me spell things correct. Must me images be good? Yes. These, you need to remove all comments from the area that you are cropping your screenshot from. This means just the area around the function that you are submitting and just the area around the lists, whichever portions of your code you're submitting. You need to remove all comments from that area and then recapture, recrop screen images to submit. Okay, this is another way that they are trying to address potential cheating, because they haven't done it this way before, but this hypothetical cheating of writing things in comments in your personalized project reference, getting a copy of that during the exam, and then using that as a way to pass notes to yourself. That's what they're trying to prevent. You need to remove all comments from those code segments and then recapture them if you have changed anything. Okay, the things you are submitting are just images. You cannot submit copied text. All right, there are some tips for submitting the images under, I suppose, at the top of your personalized project reference menu situation, probably has a very similar top, and then the bottom part, I'm guessing, is where you click upload, which means there is probably a link for refer to the personalized project reference tip sheet. And this is, which, like I said, you should be able to get to, but we'll talk about now, is there are some tips for creating those images. The first few tips are for people that are using text editors, which we aren't using a text editor. We are using AppLab, which at some point you will need to let them know that our programming language is AppLab. There's a point where you get to choose your programming language so that it goes to a grader that knows that language. JavaScript is technically correct, but you will choose AppLab. It is more correct. So the tips for creating your images, we don't really need to worry about font size. We do need to worry about resolution, which shouldn't be an issue if you're using just generic screen capture or screen crop situation, because they generally do a good job as long as you're not messing with it. I think this would only happen if you're doing something weird, like to the file elsewhere. But the key is they need to be readable because it's going to be printed out on paper and you are going to need to look at it. Other tips, if you have some more text stuff, if you have a line of text in the area of code that you're going to crop that is longer than the width of your screen, there are two solutions. The lame solution is making it vertical. So lame. The other, I mean, maybe it's not, now that I think about it. I don't know. Maybe it's better. I don't know. The other way is just putting a line break in your code, before you crop it, because it, if you change something, you need to crop it. You need to recapture. The way that you do that is you just switch it to text mode and add a, click enter somewhere in the middle of the line so that it does a page break. It shouldn't mess with anything so long as you don't delete any punctuation or syntax or anything like that. Okay, if your code looks like this, and this was the function that I wanted to crop or to capture, and it doesn't fit, I mean, I guess you could zoom out, but at a certain point, we run into resolution issues. And I think that's one of the things they're addressing. All you need to do is switch it to text mode and click enter, and then it will be on the, it'll be a line break. Now, you probably won't have 100 random number plus things. You might, I guess if it's a super long concatenating, it might have a bunch of orange blocks, but either way, this is a way to get it on the same line so that you can put it in the cropped image. And yeah, they all need to be images. That's not where I was. This is where I was. Okay, vertical, and that's it. Okay, so goal for today is access your College Board accounts and make the changes to your documents or remake the documents as needed, and you can start uploading if you, like I said, if you're taking the test. Okay, if you really want, I can check your stuff, but you should be able to check your stuff as well. I'm not going to go through and check everybody's, well, I don't want to say I'm not going to go through check everybody's because it's not necessarily true. But if you do ask, I will double check what you have submitted. I'm pretty sure I can see stuff if, well, we don't need to go to individual stuff. Okay, so that is the goal for today. Does anybody have any questions? What's up? I mean, it's safer to stay inside than go. I mean, it's not an issue. It's not an issue if the comments are just about the code. I guess get rid of the comments, except for, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine there being a difference, but there's no benefit to leaving comments in the code. Unsubmit it. Oh, like your actual program code? Yeah, you don't ever have to hit submit for that. I grade what's there whenever. I suppose some teachers use that submit as like the student's ready to have it graded, but the due dates are the case for this. Yes, you may unsubmit it. If you make changes to your work in order to submit it to the digital portfolio, in order to submit it for the test, you don't need to resubmit it to Canvas. Whatever you submitted to Canvas, I'm sure will be fine, if it's fine. And my grading for the assignment on Canvas is going to be much more lenient than what College Board is likely to do. So mostly just make sure you get something decent in. That's your best bet. But oh, you mean for I'll figure it out. Because most of the references are from screenshots anyway. The idea is that you'd be able to grade the written response just by holding the written response. So what you submitted to Canvas used to be what you submitted to the College Board. Like the entire, because of potential students using AI to write their work and, general plagiarism, which I think it makes more sense. It's certainly less convenient for you folks, but I think it does a better job of proving you've learned the material than potentially having somebody do the entire project for them. Okay, any other questions? All right, go for it. Yes, you can take that.